Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Rafaela and I'm here today with a very special guest. I have Fola. Introduce yourself. Who is Fola? How do we know each other?
Yeah, so my name is Fola, and we met in Haleybury in 2009. So
This is
my maths
like
is terrible. Is that like 15
six,
years? Just about 16
16
years.
years,
16
16
years,
years.
yeah.
We should know this.
We should, yeah. 16 years. That's a long time.
That's a very long time.
And so we've been friends since. We're one of the few black people in Haleybury. So naturally, we were told, you guys should be friends. You guys are, you know, um, similar background, similar like
Exactly.
family history and everything. So that was quite nice to connect on that. And then we were friends during Haleybury, and then we lost touch
Yeah.
for a bit, and then we only reconnected recently. I think was it earlier this year
Yeah, it was.
at a friend's 30th birthday.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've just been enjoying getting to know each other again and catching up on however many years it's been of friendship. So
Literally,
yeah,
it's been a long time. It's been like over a decade. And
yeah,
like people
yeah,
change so much, but it's crazy to see how like people change. But then faces stay the same, and
yeah,
people stay
yeah,
the same. Like although you've done all these things and I've done all these things, like you're still Fola that I knew
yeah,
from Haley
yeah,
Brie.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
I'm so happy to have you on the channel today. I'm
Thank you very
excited
much.
for the
Yeah, it's an
conversation.
honor to be here.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much for making the time.
no worries, no worries.
But prior to us starting, so I really like to make my guests feel
Okay.
comfortable. Loosen up a bit before we get
I
into
don't
the
feel
nitty
loose. Let
gritty,
me put this blanket aside. So
so you can really loosen up.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, I'm calm.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna play a would you rather question game.
Okay.
So just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather have an incredibly annoying high pitched voice or really deep manly voice?
Hmm.
Okay, for like you're meant to answer this quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Really deep manly voice. I'd rather have that because there's been
Okay.
times when I would scream and then like in a football match or something, and then my voice sounds higher than it's actually meant to be, and then I'm like,
But then if you had a really deep voice, we'd be like, go Arsenal.
I'd rather have that. I'd
Really?
rather have that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather be 3 feet tall or 8 feet tall?
8. 8 feet. Yeah. Yeah. I'm already closer to 3 feet, so I don't. 8.
Would you rather a nose that never stops growing or ears that never stop growing?
Hmm.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah. I would say. Hmm. That's very tricky. I would say ears that never stop growing.
Ears that
Yeah. I
really?
mean, I don't know. It's a bit
I mean,
weird, though,
maybe
but
you'll hear better. I
yeah,
guess. I guess.
I
Would
think
you
so.
rather
Yeah.
not be able to taste or not be able to see colors?
Hmm. Not be able to see colors. I'd rather have
Mm,
that. Yeah, because
yeah.
most men are colorblind anyway. So,
Most who?
like a lot of people that are colorblind
Oh, I
are
thought you
men.
said most men. I was like, really?
No, no, like
Is that
most of the
scientific?
colorblind population is male. Yeah,
Really? Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. I have my teachers that like I've had throughout my academic journey like have been colorblind. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. I never knew
yeah,
this.
yeah. So
Learn something new every
and they're
day.
fine. So yeah.
Okay, would you rather know how the world began or how it will end?
Mm, I'd rather know how it began.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then would you rather be stuck on an island for eternity all on your own or be stuck on an island for eternity with someone who you hate?
With someone I hate.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with someone I hate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I
Are
think
you
if you had
feeling
asked
relaxed?
I'm feeling relaxed. If you had asked me that question maybe like 5 years ago, I'd have said by myself.
Right.
But now I just feel like I would want to have some company.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of company.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then you hate them. So do you
Well,
feel like
I think
eventually
over
you would get
time we'll be able to like find some way to like, okay, we live here together. Let's like make it work.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's true. You're a
Yeah.
peacemaker.
Yeah.
But anyways, so this was the would you rather game.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm quite excited throughout this series to see how people will play this game. But
Mm,
I can tell from how you were actually thinking about the questions as opposed to the first thing that comes to your head that
yeah.
you're truly a scholar, which is what we'll dive into today.
Good segue. Good segue. Good segue.
So yeah, so once again, thank you so much for being here.
Mm,
So I guess I wanted to start off by saying, so as you mentioned, so Fola and myself went to boarding school together in year 9.
mhm,
And then, all I remember from school is there was one summer
mm.
when we came back. And then you just weren't in our year
Oh
anymore.
yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like you weren't in our year anymore. And then we're like, what happened? And so, I kind of wanted to talk about that, because I feel like with the graduate series, the reason why I bring different guests in is obviously to talk about their trajectories, their past experiences, etc. And so, whenever, and I really like a good comeback story as well.
Mm.
And so basically, I just kind of wanted to know, well, one, let's start with what actually happened.
Where do I begin? So much happened. So that was the summer of GCSEs,
Mm-hmm.
and the school we had this thing where you had to get 6 Bs, right, in across your 10 GCSEs.
I actually didn't know that.
Oh really? Oh, you just were studying and I
I
was
was just
stressed.
getting
I remember when I was studying, I was like, which one can I get a B? Yeah, yeah. I was so
really
stressed. I don't know what it was, but I just wasn't really focused or
right.
motivated, or I didn't really enjoy learning, and I was really distracted all the time.
Yeah.
I remember I had like a PSP. There was the
Oh yeah, I
PlayStation
remember.
Portable.
Yeah, yeah.
I would put it in my pocket in class and then put my head
No
down
way.
and play in class, and it would get C's sometimes, and like, or sometimes I'd go to the toilet and play there. Like, it was really bad. I don't know what it was, but I was just like not a very serious student.
Yeah.
And so, surprise, surprise, when the exam results came out, I remember I got 1 A and 4 Bs,
Okay.
and the rest were C's.
Okay.
And I just burst out crying because, like, my parents had hoped that I would get 6 Bs and just like carry on and
Yeah.
be with my same year group.
Yeah.
But then, with hindsight, actually, I'll get to the hindsight bit. So typically, what then happens at that point in the school is that you either have to leave.
Yeah.
Or,
A
I
lot
mean,
of people. Yeah. Yeah.
people
Yeah. A
leave,
lot of
yeah.
people had to go.
But
Yeah.
for me, because I still am Nigerian, and it's not going where you think it's going. But like, I had a visa linked to the school for that
Ah.
period, so
Okay.
it was very complicated for me to then like find another situation. My siblings had just joined as well.
Yes.
My parents got a house close to the school, so like it was very, very complicated for
Yeah.
me to leave. So we basically like begged the school, like,
Yeah.
please, can he repeat the year?
Right.
And they made this case around the fact that I had skipped a year back in Nigeria.
Okay.
I skipped year 6, primary 6.
Mm.
And so they made this case that, look, he wasn't really in his original year group anyway,
Yeah.
because he's quite young. And so the school made an exception for me, and they
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to repeat the year. So I then dropped back a year. And I think with hindsight, probably the best thing that happened to me, because I
Mm-hmm.
think I wasn't, I mean, yes, I was in your year, but I didn't really feel
Yeah.
like I was in your year. I was much younger than everyone else,
Oh.
smaller than everyone else. I didn't really get, I think also like that year group wasn't very international.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that was another thing I struggled with, like coming from Nigeria. And
Yeah, it wasn't international until
yeah,
sixth form,
yeah, in
when
sixth
a
form,
lot
yeah,
more people came for the
yeah,
IB. Absolutely.
yeah.
Sorry, I realized that in our introduction, you didn't actually say what you do.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And actually, that links to the comeback story. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
what
So,
you
so
do.
I'm now doing a PhD in law at
Mm-hmm.
Cambridge, and so sometimes I think about it, like, how did I get from being that kid who struggled to
Yeah.
even get 5 Bs, and even the second time I did it, so I had to
Yeah.
my GCSEs twice. The second time was a close call. Like, I couldn't, because I
Really?
had to do this thing called springboard,
Right.
where like if you were underperforming,
Yeah.
the school would basically make sure you did like prep in
Okay.
like a classroom instead of in your room.
In
And
this same
so
Haley that we went
yeah, yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah. There was like an extra thing for like students that were
Wow.
underperforming. So like, I was still underperforming in my second time doing my GCSEs.
Yeah.
I was struggling. Like, I mean, the second time I ended up getting, I think it was like 5 A's and 5 B's,
Right.
which again is, I mean, it's not bad,
It's
but
good.
like,
Yeah.
students, I didn't get a single A star, for
Yeah.
example. And so to think that I've come from that to then
Exactly.
doing a PhD in law at Cambridge is like a huge journey. Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah, yeah,
amazing, and congratulations. And we'll
yeah.
dig more into that in the conversation. But then, so do you think that that specific challenge,
Mm,
or maybe a later challenge, sparked something in you? Because
mm,
obviously, you said that that was sort of close call with the second year doing GCSEs,
yeah.
but then obviously you are where you're at today. So what then sparked something in you to then go
Mm,
down that academic route, and really
mm,
just, you're doing amazing. You're
mm.
excelling in your studies.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
it's a big change.
Yeah, yeah. I think to avoid the cliche answer, I think it was like finding law,
Okay.
because that's when I started doing law at undergrad. I was at the University of Hull,
Yeah.
and I just had this moment of, oh, I actually kind of like this. This is interesting. Like, I could
Yeah.
see how it was relevant. Like, I would, see cases that were popular at the time, and it just made sense to me, like, practically speaking. Whereas the other subjects I was doing didn't really have that. Funny enough, actually, my best A-level results was a B, and I got that in politics. And I think again
Okay.
that's because I could see the real world effects. My other
Exactly.
A-levels were psychology and biology. Again, I couldn't really see how it
Mm,
affected my life on a day-to-day basis. So
yeah.
I think I needed something that was more real for me
Yeah.
personally. And once I started studying law, I just found myself, so to
I
speak.
love
Yeah,
that. I love
yeah.
that. And I think that's so amazing. So I previously had a speaker on the graduate series, Isabel,
Oh
and
yeah,
she was
yeah,
talking about, yeah, when she went to school. And you know how in Haleybury we were just basically secondary school, we were
yeah,
doing that, whereas like some people go to college and all those things.
yeah,
And so they're exposed to different subjects. And I was like, what? We never had this.
yeah,
And so it's so interesting that you're basically saying your like traditional subjects
yeah,
weren't that interesting to you, which then translated into the grades that you had. But then
yeah,
the actual stuff where you could see the real world, like politics,
yeah,
then sparked an interest in you, and then you were more committed and actually
yeah,
interested in studying.
yeah.
That's something maybe they should look into
I
the
think they should.
curriculum.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then what would be your words of encouragement or wisdom for anyone out there who has faced an academic challenge? So be
Hmm.
it, repeating a year or maybe close to repeating a year,
Yeah.
or maybe even having failed or having been rejected from an
Mhm.
institution. What would be your words of advice?
I think the most important thing is to not take it to heart.
Mm-hmm.
There's this quote, I think I heard it from Anthony Joshua when he lost a fight, and he said, "Don't let success get to your head, and don't let defeat get to your heart."
Ooh.
And I think that is so powerful. Like it's something that just keeps guiding me,
Yeah.
like subconsciously, because you can go through those tough times, and they happen to
Yeah.
everyone. But I think the most important thing is to just keep pushing, like
Yeah.
keep trying to find ways to motivate yourself and to be creative, and you never know what could land.
Exactly.
There's another quote that I like from another fighter, Kamaru Usman, who's an MMA fighter. I'm not just like a fighting guy, but like it just so happens like I get these quotes from them. And his is that luck is when preparation meets
Oh,
opportunity.
I've heard this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not his quote, but like I've heard him say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've heard
and so
this.
again, that's another thing. Like
Yeah.
just keep going at it, keep working hard, and then eventually your luck will turn. I think so. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay, so for anyone out there, that's the
yeah,
advice. Thank you so much. And then obviously you've drawn upon the fact that you are from a Nigerian background.
yeah.
So then, as the firstborn son in a
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian household, there's often a lot of responsibility and
Yeah,
expectation.
yeah.
How did that cultural pressure shape your decisions around your path now, your career,
Mm-hmm.
your education, your ambition?
I think as a Nigerian, there's no room for failure. Like I don't think we allow ourselves to feel that.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it
Mm,
happens,
mm, mm,
but I
mm.
like even now I'll speak to Nigerians back home and I'll be talking about my PhD and I'll say like, oh yeah, I hope I finish in the next 2 months or something,
Yeah.
and they'll say, no, no, you will finish in the next 2 months.
The
I know it's
power of
not
the
hope, you
tongue.
will finish. Yeah, so like we have that thing of like always have that positive attitude. But then for me, I didn't. I mean, now I'm coming more into it now.
Yeah.
But growing up as a child that wasn't performing well academically, I I didn't. I really felt a bit of like a dissonance between
Mm,
myself and my culture,
mm.
particularly when I was in Nigeria as well. Because I mean, yes, I got bad grades at Haley, but that wasn't the beginning. Like I was
Yeah.
getting bad grades in Nigeria as well. Like it wasn't a new thing. Um, I was just really badly behaved, and so like I just didn't really feel like I fit in. Like I almost started to resent certain parts of the culture that were just like
Oh,
that put
okay.
pressure on like excellence all the
Yeah.
time and like always achieving. And I don't really know what changed.
Yeah.
My parents weren't like that, funny enough. Like
Okay.
my parents were like they never got upset with me for grades.
Right.
Um, they always would encourage me. So I think maybe that was what allowed me to just also like find myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So you wouldn't change anything,
Um,
or do you think anything even needs to change?
about like the
Yeah,
cultural,
because I guess
yeah,
sometimes like I don't know. I always say to people that I'm someone, I don't do well when I'm put into like a competitive environment or
yeah,
pressure is put
yeah,
on me, but actually on a day to day, I'm always striving to do better than what I did yesterday.
yeah,
So naturally, when I'm doing that, it's fine. But when you start putting pressure and you start also bringing like comparison and
yeah,
like all these other things, then it actually makes me underperform. But I
yeah,
also know that some people in those environments, they do better.
yeah.
So would you say it's something that needs to be changed or
Well, my parents never did that to me,
yeah.
so I think I was quite lucky. So I think I think
from
everyone
that.
says they have the best parents, but I think my parents really were good for me. Like
Yeah.
they really encouraged me in their own way.
Yeah.
And so shout out to them. I'll send them this video after, so I'm sure they'll see that.
Oh, I love
And
that.
so I think they never really they got upset with me for other things
Yeah.
like bad behavior
Yeah.
and getting into trouble. Almost got suspended from school
In
in
Haleybury.
Nigeria.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
about to say, wait, how did this happen? And I didn't know this.
but in Haleybury I had fixed up a little bit, but like in
Okay.
Nigeria I almost got expelled.
Really? What
Actually,
did
yeah.
you do?
So it
Are
wasn't.
you able to say?
I can say, yeah, I can say. So like it wasn't like one big thing. So
Yeah.
we had this thing called like the demerits book in
Okay.
our year group. So like one student would have to like carry it from class to class, and
Uh-huh.
the teachers would like write in there, oh, this person didn't do one thing, they didn't bring their homework today, or like they were talking back in
Yeah.
class, something like that. And if you get like 3, you get a detention. If you get 6, you get a longer detention. If you
Yeah.
get 9, you have to come in on a Saturday for a detention.
Yeah.
And in one term, I got 18. Yeah, I got 18.
It was so funny hearing that because it's so it's so different to the
Yeah.
person you are today
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I wouldn't even imagine that.
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how. I mean,
You really
it was
fixed
for
up.
silly things as well. Like there was one time that one of my friends had a voice recorder
Uh-huh.
that you could record what the teacher was saying and
Yeah.
then play back in like a funny voice. I don't know what technology that was, but he had it at the age of 12 for some reason.
Wow.
And he was recording the
2008.
teacher's voice and then speeding it up, and it
Yeah.
sounded really funny. And she said, if you look, by the time I look back, whoever has that thing is getting into trouble. She looked back and he threw it onto my desk, and I got into trouble.
Okay.
So there were things like
okay.
it was like
That
wrong
weren't
place, wrong
actually.
time,
Yeah.
but it was always me. So then it was like, why is it always you? Like, why are you
Yeah.
always in these
And
things?
18, you can't really.
Yeah.
It can't always be something else.
Yeah, so I mean, I also take responsibility. Like
Yeah.
there were times I would talk back to teachers as well, or
Yeah.
like not do my homework. So like they got upset with me for that.
Mm-hmm.
But like by the time that the grades came out, they were like, okay, fair.
It's
Like we're not
okay.
going to put pressure on you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which was
Okay, so
helpful.
it really seems like it's down to age
Yeah,
and really in that time.
yeah,
But clearly people can turn it round.
yeah. I
So
think
we
oh,
love to
definitely,
see it.
definitely, definitely.
Okay, so now I'd like to turn the conversation to your academic trajectory.
Mhm.
Okay. So prior to diving into your academic trajectory in more detail,
Mhm.
I was wondering whether you could actually share some light into like your actual trajectory. You're
Mhm.
saying that now you're doing a PhD, but prior to doing that PhD, where did you go? I
Yep.
think you mentioned Hull. So if you could kind of like take us through that, what qualifications
Yep.
did you do? That would be great, please.
So from Haileybury, I went to the University of Hull, which was a
Mhm.
huge culture shock.
Yeah.
And then I went to. I think wait, I'll expand on that a little bit because I think it's like I had fun there. I made really good friends, but then in terms of like the universities that people go to from Haileybury, it was like quite
Yeah.
a way down.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of like a thing where like my friends would come and visit, and then they'll be like, oh, it's not like Leeds or what like.
Why did you go to Hull?
I did badly in my A levels, so I didn't really have a
Oh,
choice.
okay,
Yeah, I was
okay.
calling up universities on the day of thing, and they were like,
Really?
"Oh yeah, we've reduced our grade boundaries for this course, but
Yeah.
like not that low." Like York told me that actually. They told me that they reduced their grade boundaries, but not that low.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up Hall was like the first one I found.
Yeah.
It was a Nigerian I spoke to on the phone as well. So like for me, I was like, it's
Favorite.
destined. Yeah. So I went to Hull, did my undergrad. That was 3 years, and then from there I went to qualify as a lawyer in Nigeria, which was 13 months.
Mhm.
Then from there, which is 6 weeks after my final exam, I started my master's at UCL,
Mhm.
and I almost wanted to drop out within like the first
Why?
term because I had just finished my law school exams,
Yeah,
and those exams are so intense.
I've heard.
Like people take anti-malaria tablets for the exams because you get so stressed,
Yeah.
and people have like dormant malaria
Yeah,
lying
yeah,
in their
yeah.
body, and people get malaria during that time. Like it gets so bad, and the exams are like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Mm-hmm.
5 papers,
Mm-hmm.
and you get your lowest grade. So if you fail one, you fail everything.
Wow.
So it's really intense.
I like the Nigerian education system.
Yeah.
From what you're saying today, I mean,
I don't know.
my future kids should go there. The
I don't know.
merit book, the
Yeah.
exams. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, it was intense.
That's
it was
good
intense.
discipline. Yeah, that sounds
It
very
was very intense. Yeah. So I went from that to then like in a classroom within 6 weeks, and I was just like, I haven't had enough time to just
right,
decompress.
to actually recuperate. Yeah.
So yeah, I started at UCL. the first term was difficult, but then the second term started to make more sense. I found like a
Right.
group of friends. I really enjoyed it. And then after that was COVID. So I was back in Nigeria and I started to work at a law firm in
Okay.
Nigeria. So I worked there for about 12 months.
Okay.
Um, and in that time, I got my offer to do my PhD at Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I really enjoyed being at UCL in the end.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed being in academic circles. And then going back to law firm was a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed it as well because I got to do a range of different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I still missed academia,
Okay.
and so that's what inspired me to then do the PhD. And then after I got the offer, I left the job at the firm,
Mm-hmm.
and then started working at the Competition Authority in
Okay.
Nigeria, which is basically the agency that regulates how
Yeah.
markets work in Nigeria. And that was like really good experience as well because I then had seen a bit of like private practice from the law firm, but then also seen how the government worked as well, and then started the PhD and should be done in a few months. So yeah,
Amen to that.
yeah,
And I guess I was going to ask you then, because this is an age-long debate that people have about whether they will finish their studies and then go into work.
yeah,
So before starting to make money, or
yeah, yeah,
whether they
yeah,
will make money and then later go
yeah,
back to academia. And my mom was like, do your PhD, because once you start working and making money, you're not going to go back.
yeah.
I tasted money and I said, see you people later.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I keep saying, yeah, in the future, but then I'm like, I
yeah,
need to save a lot before I go in the future, you
yeah,
know. So then I guess like you obviously talked about how you worked in that law firm,
yeah.
etc. So then what made you be like, no, I still want to go back to academia and actually finish this?
I think it's a lot to do with the mentors that I had.
Right.
So a lot of them had done their PhDs when they were young,
Ah,
and so I
okay.
just saw their trajectory, and I was like, okay, it makes sense to do it
Yeah.
now. So, for example, the firm I worked at, the managing partner had done his PhD,
Yeah.
in his late 20s,
Yeah.
and then started working at the firm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have some other mentors that are based in the UK who are more down the academic route, but like they did their PhDs when they were younger as well.
Mm.
One of my dad's friends who like basically like forced me to do the PhD. No, not forced, but like he argued with me to do the PhD. He was like, "You should do it now." He was like,
Yeah.
"Look, once you do it, like, and you hit the workforce, like the money you can make is then a lot more in the
Absolutely.
end."
Absolutely. That's
So
very
I
true.
observed these things and I thought actually I might as well get it done now
Absolutely.
while I'm still interested in doing these things.
Yeah.
But then again, I think one thing that I found quite interesting is that in our cohorts, there's about 24 people in my year.
Okay.
Um, there's like two groups of people.
Right.
So there's people who like came straight, actually, well, three people that came straight from university,
Mm-hmm.
so no work experience whatsoever. There's people like me who had a bit of work experience,
Mm-hmm.
and there's people who like were partners at law firms, for example, and like have
Mm.
worked for 20, 30 years and then
Mm-hmm.
have come back to the PhD.
Yeah.
So I think it's still
There's
possible.
a
People
good
do it. Yeah,
diversity.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What would you personally recommend though? Would you say it's better for people to do it
Mm.
younger? So coming straight out of university,
I, I
or get
think,
a little bit of
I think, I
experience?
mean, I think maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think
Bias,
my
yeah.
path was, I mean, it worked for me.
Yeah.
In my second year, I lived with someone who came straight from university,
Right.
and it worked for her as
Okay.
well.
So
I've
it's
got
really
friends who,
down to
yeah, it's
people.
down to you. I think it depends on what the people who tend to go straight from university are more set on academia as a career path.
Absolutely. Okay,
I'm
word.
not super set on just academia. Like I want to
Absolutely.
teach and
Yeah.
research, but I also want to practice as well. So I think it depends on what kind of
Mm.
mixture you want. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
no problem. And then could you talk us through a little bit about even the process of applying for a
yeah,
PhD? Because I think that's something that a lot of people probably don't know about. So
yeah,
how did you go about finding even your supervisor,
yeah.
your application? What does the process entail?
So you first of all do the research. Like
Mm-hmm.
so you have to do like develop your research question,
Right.
um, read widely around the topic. They're not really expecting you to know exactly what it is you're going to do yet,
Yeah,
because I mean that's what the PhD is for. But at
exactly.
least you have a question that they can work with.
Right.
And I got told during my master's that a PhD proposal can begin from two papers, two
Okay.
papers that disagree on a topic,
Yeah.
and you then find your space in the middle where you're trying to resolve that
Okay.
dispute.
Okay.
So I think, I mean, it depends on, I think different fields work differently. I think with the sciences, it's more you apply onto preset research projects already.
Mm-hmm.
But in the humanities, there's the emphasis on you to
Exactly.
develop your own research
Mm-hmm.
project. So that's how it worked for me. So I think I spent about 3, 4 months,
Right.
like just doing research around. Initially, I wanted to do my PhD on how competition law works in regulated sectors in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like the communication sector that regulates like telecoms companies. How does that interact with the competition authority, and how do you strike that balance between, you have sometimes when the telecoms regulator wants to intervene and then the competition authority wants to intervene. How do you negotiate that?
Yeah.
And when I worked at the competition authority, I saw that this is all like just a political thing. Like there's loads of like um there's little discussion of like, okay, what is the most efficient way to
Right.
actually negotiate this
Right.
interaction, and it was more based on politics. I just felt a bit sort of disillusioned by that, and so I decided to ask a more broader question of how does competition law affect development in African countries. And so my research has changed so much as well. Like this was just before I started the PhD.
Exactly.
Even during the PhD, it's changed so much.
Okay, so it's not
Yeah,
rigid.
it's
You
not
can
rigid. Yeah,
change it.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm picking the supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
So people typically will pick supervisors based on the people that are most cited in their fields.
Right.
So like you're doing your research, you see a name that keeps coming up again and again. It's like, okay,
Right.
fine, this is someone that is very aligned with my work.
Yeah.
That's one way to go about it. I picked more based on, well, so I applied to 4 universities:
Right.
UCL, LSE, Oxford, and Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly because I applied to UCL because I had done my master's there. I knew them really well already.
Yeah.
I applied to LSE because I also like we had a lot of events with them, so I was like, okay, it makes sense. Like it wasn't so much based on whether they were the most cited in my field, but more based on like connections and like vibes, I guess. And then I was like, okay, might as well apply to Cambridge as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would get in.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think I'd get in. Yeah. I applied there and I was like, okay, I might as well apply to Oxford as well then.
Exactly.
And then you then have an interview with the supervisory team.
Mm-hmm.
It could be 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
And then after that, they give you an offer if they think that your research aligns with theirs.
Okay.
So they'll ask you questions like, why do you want to ask these sort of questions? Why are you looking at these countries? Have you considered this or that?
Yeah.
And it's quite like just kind of like an exploratory sort of interview, really, like to see if there's legs to the proposal.
Okay.
And once you get through that, it's pretty much guaranteed that as long as you get like the funding side of things sorted, and like once that's done, then it's guaranteed.
Okay. Thank you for that. And you know what's so interesting? What I love with the graduate series is obviously all the speakers that come and speak, and it's predominantly targeted at the viewers, but I always learn myself, or like it's always very like triggering, or I guess like convicting. So as I hear even what you're saying, I'm thinking about how when I was thinking about applying for a PhD as well, I actually started with some of my research. I was looking at UCL because I had done my master's at UCL. Looked at LSE. Looked at Cambridge. And my thing was Cambridge, the program had just closed. And that's actually where I really, really wanted to go. That was my number one. Then it was going to be LSE, then SOAS. I actually looked at SOAS. But then because Cambridge was closed, I was like, well, I could wait till the next year. And then obviously circumstances changed. I'm feeling really inspired by what you're saying.
Yeah, I think, the thing is, I feel like, so if you had asked, people have been asking me, like, oh, should I do a PhD? And if you had asked me at the start of the PhD, I'd say, yeah, for sure, everyone should do a PhD. I think it's so important. Like you learn, it's this journey. Now that I'm here, I'm not so sure. I think when people ask me, "Oh, should I do a PhD?" I ask them, "Why do you want to do a PhD?" So I think people, I tell my mom this quite a lot, that like the PhD is a very respected and disrespected degree at the same time, because it's like the highest degree in education, so it's respected in that sense.
Absolutely.
But I think people also have this perception that like, oh, it's just like any other degree. I just do research and like that's about it. But like it's a very like isolating experience.
Absolutely.
And you really have to have your motivation clear as to why you want to do it, because that will test you. For me right now, my motivation is just that people call my mom. No, not even that. People call my mom Mama Doctor already in Nigeria. So like, there's no way. Like it'd be so embarrassing on her. Like she's Mama Doctor, but like the doctor hasn't come. All this. Like you have to have like that wasn't my motivation at the beginning, obviously.
No,
like,
but really that resilience.
You have to have something that keeps you going.
Absolutely.
Because I think the hardest thing isn't so much like the intellectual side. I think that's
Right.
hard for sure.
Right.
But I think fundamentally, if you can do like an undergrad or master's level dissertation, I think you have the skill set,
Right.
reading, writing, thinking, asking
Mm-hmm.
questions. Like you can do that.
Yeah.
I think for me, the hardest thing has been the emotional side. So,
Right.
for
Okay.
example, you have like a bad day.
Right.
How do you motivate yourself to keep working the next day? Or you have a really good day and you think,
Mm.
I'm done. Like I've made it. I'm going to finish
Mm.
this thing. And then the next day you realize there's still so much work to do. You now
Mm.
crash. How do you keep motivating yourself to keep going?
Okay.
That, like,
Striking
emotional
that
volatility can be
balance,
quite
yeah,
difficult.
and
Yeah.
regulation. So
Yeah.
what did you do?
To
Like,
like get
what do
myself.
you do? Yeah.
So I mean, I have a friend who gave me advice that was like, if you're having a bad day, just give up.
Sorry, I'm thinking about that video that I watched. So it's
Yeah.
like, if you're having a bad day, just give up.
Give up.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna get better.
Give
Don't
up.
try again.
Yeah, but sometimes it works because you're
Yeah.
having a bad day and then you end up doing work that is, you need to be in the right frame of mind for research.
Absolutely.
You then end up
Yeah.
doing work that's not so good, and then you have to, like, you feel bad about it because you haven't been as productive. No, she just says, no, actually, just take a day off,
Yeah.
rest, do something fun, and then come back to the next day.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you have like 1 week to go, then maybe
That
don't do that.
flexibility. Yeah,
But
you
like
need
if
to
you've
have
got
that
like a few months, then
flexibility.
I think you
Yeah.
can take a day off and it's fine. Yeah.
And I think that's true.
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah.
no point in keep on, like, it's almost as if you're pushing against the wall.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have that motivation
Yeah.
that day, or that you're not in that headspace, there's no point.
Yeah.
You're just being inefficient. You're making
Exactly.
yourself even more burnt out. So
Yeah.
I agree with that. Also, you mentioned, well, your career, obviously, your, sorry, academic route spans across then Nigeria,
Yeah.
the UK, the US,
Oh yeah, I
because
did
you
mention
had,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
your exchange program at Harvard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Like, how common and easy is it to get such an opportunity? Is
Yeah.
that something that's like common within the PhD route?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, how should people look out for those kind of opportunities as well?
So once you're onto the PhD program, a lot of universities will have links with other universities,
Right.
and you can then look out for those opportunities once you're there. And
Mm,
there's funded research visits you can do, or exchange programs you can do,
yeah.
or you can also go about setting up those links yourself, right? So if
Okay.
you have a senior researcher, for example, at another university that you think will be helpful for you to work with,
Mm-hmm.
you can always like send them an email and say, oh, I'd like to visit for a term,
Yeah.
for example. A lot of the time they might say, yeah, you can come, but we have no like accommodation for you. You have to sort that out by yourself. Like that's the kind of situation you might find.
Yeah.
But with the Cambridge Harvard one, there's like a link between the two law schools,
Okay.
and you go there. You basically are treated like a Harvard. I would say like a Harvard LLM student, really,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
with some PhD perks.
Yeah.
Um, so you take the classes with the LLM students and the JD students as well. You live in the same accommodation with them. You're part of like their induction, but then you have access to an office space in the PhD
Okay.
room.
Yeah.
So it's quite a good experience actually.
I
I
was
think it was
about to
nice to
ask. Yeah.
compare like how things work over there to how they work here.
Yeah.
Their PhD is 5 to 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was like a big. I was like,
And that's full time, 5 to 7
yeah,
years.
full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think the US is just very fascinating.
yeah,
Because even like undergrad is all those years you're
yeah,
doing. I'm like, hey.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a long time. Yeah,
Wow. But I guess it shows a certain level of commitment. Not to say we're not dedicated and committed
yeah,
here in the UK, but I
yeah.
suppose really to stick at it,
Plus,
you
yeah,
know.
it's
Yeah.
and they all have like on average maybe like 2 or 3 supervisors, whereas in the UK
Okay.
you'd find that most people have. I have one supervisor, for example.
Yeah.
So there's more of a
Yeah.
team. In
Okay.
the first 2 years, they're not allowed to write. They're
Oh.
just reading and taking classes. Whereas for
And they
us,
would have done a master's before.
um, yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So they're not allowed to write. So they're just taking classes, creating like a reading list to really like hone in on their research questions, and then after that they have an exam, like
Mm-hmm.
an oral exam where they have to discuss what their research idea is, and then after that they just start writing. It's a very different experience. So I was like, I don't know. I think it from like an academic perspective, I think
Mm-hmm.
you're more grounded in your field,
Okay.
but then it just takes so much time that
Exactly.
I'm just like, don't know if I could justify doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which you kind of answered my next question.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it
Okay.
was about,
Yeah.
well, do you think that's a worthwhile way of doing it? Because
Mm.
as you said, you can be grounded in your research, but also once you start your research, you're pretty grounded in it and you're
Yeah,
dedicated
yeah,
for,
yeah,
just 3 years. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it depends on what people want, really. I think
absolutely.
what I found over there is that a lot of them are more set on academia.
Okay.
I don't really know. There's like one woman that I know of who did her PhD at Harvard, and then she's Nigerian, and oh no, actually she's Ghanaian, who
Hmm.
then works as a lawyer, practices as a
Okay.
lawyer. But I don't really see many people like that. I think once
Yeah.
they get onto the PhD, they're pretty much set. Whereas I see people who do PhDs in UK universities in Nigeria, from Nigeria,
Hmm.
and they go back into practice. So
Yeah.
I think it depends what kind of trajectory you
You
want
want
for
to go
yourself.
into.
Yeah, yeah,
And actually, thank you for bringing that. So then, for you, you obviously said earlier that you like the academia side, but you also like the practicing
yeah,
side. So then, in the future, that's what you aspire to do.
yeah.
So what are the options available after a PhD
Mm.
in terms of like job prospects?
Yeah, good question.
Hmm.
So I have clients that I work with in Nigeria already. I've tried to like put myself out there a little bit. I go to conferences there.
Hmm.
Um, I had a blog that I
Okay.
need to resuscitate, but that talks about competition law issues. It used to get published in a newspaper as well in
Oh
Nigeria. So like those
wow.
sort of things are good for just getting my name out,
Yeah.
and I've managed
Yeah.
to get like a little bit of like a client base.
Okay.
So I'd want to really hone into that
Yeah.
once I finish the PhD, but then also have a base at a university in the UK,
Hmm.
either like a teaching fellow or research fellow.
Hmm.
So I mean, I can have access to the libraries, I can teach, develop my ideas, while also like working with my clients back home. I think that would be like
Exactly.
a good balance.
And that's quite common for PhD students.
It's not so common.
Right.
My
Especially
mentors have
in
done it.
competition law. Yeah,
My mentors
sorry.
have done it,
Okay.
but it's not in competition law. It is more common
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's one of the fields that like there's like the
The
regulatory
last product.
side, there's
Yeah.
clients, there's academia.
Yeah.
If you're doing like contract law,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Okay.
Like I mean, if you're maybe a commercial contract lawyer, then maybe. But
Yeah.
like if you're pure contract law, contract theory, there's probably not that much scope in like the real world for
Okay.
of legal practice.
So most people would then go on to teach at.
Purely teaching, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So but that's kind of the path I want to go down. Yeah,
That's really
yeah,
interesting. And I
yeah,
think that gives you like a good balance as well.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then earlier you also talked about how sometimes it can feel like very tiring and lonely,
Mm,
obviously, and you need to be committed. And when you said that, it reminded me of medicine. Medicine is very much so like this.
yeah,
I've had a few speakers come and speak about their trajectory, be it in like psychiatry,
yeah,
be it in medicine, so like gynecology and stuff like that.
yeah.
So I guess what I've always known about medicine, and I thought it was the same with law, and you
Mm,
can correct me, is that you can only practice law in the country where you have studied.
yeah,
But your trajectory is obviously very like diverse.
yeah.
So my question is like, could you shed some light on like, can you only practice in one country, or like how can you transfer your legal training
Mm.
to another country that you moved to?
It's a bit of a gray area, to be honest. So I
Hmm.
think the simple answer is you can only practice in the country you're in. So
Okay.
technically, I can't practice in the UK.
Yeah.
I haven't qualified here
Okay.
yet. I will qualify when I
After
finish
you,
the PhD
yeah.
year. Because I'm qualified in Nigeria and I've worked there for some time, I can get an exemption from one of the parts in the UK.
Okay. Okay.
And then after that, I can then practice
Right.
here. But the reason I say it's gray
Mm-hmm.
is because you have academics who give advice.
Yep.
They can be consulted
Yep.
in their capacity as experts in their fields.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great because it's not clear whether that's legal advice or just I'm giving my opinion as an expert.
Mm, 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 mm.
So that's why like it can
Mm.
be a bit of a tricky area to navigate. So for example, I mean I know, let's say um, Kenyan academics
Mm-hmm.
who can give advice on South African competition law from like an academic perspective,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're not qualified in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like it can, I think in the academic space it can be a bit tricky, but I
Yeah.
think the simple answer is you need to be qualified in these
In
countries.
that
Yeah,
country. Okay.
yeah,
And then in terms of then once you are qualified in that country, can you do a law conversion to go to another country? So if someone
yeah,
wanted to move from, let's say, the UK to Australia, they
yeah,
could do a law conversion.
yeah.
Okay. So
Certain
it's quite
countries
easy.
have arrangements where you don't need to do that.
Okay.
So technically, law firms can employ you as a foreign qualified lawyer. So
Okay.
that's another route that you can go down. So like I have a couple of friends actually who are from Africa who
Mm-hmm.
have worked for years in Africa and then they get employed in the UK as
Mm,
foreign qualified lawyers.
okay.
So they're because so again it's tricky because they're working in a broader team, so they're
Mm-hmm.
not the one giving the legal advice. They're
Yeah.
also working in areas of law that are pretty internationalized. Maybe it's like corporate M&A, private equity, things that like it's not super built on like the actual nuance of the UK regime. It's more like global transactions they're working on.
Okay.
So I think those situations also exist as well.
No problem. And then how accessible is this information? So for
Mm,
people who, potentially want to explore other options in other country, how
mm,
accessible is that information? What advice would you have for people to research
mm.
and better like educate themselves on that?
I think it's a bit tricky because for me I only know about it
Through
because
your
of like
network.
yeah through friends who have gone down similar routes.
Yeah.
But I would say that there are organizations that are set up to help people trying to get into law and can
Okay.
give a bit of advice. So there's
Yeah.
like aspiring solicitors, for example.
Yeah.
There's rare recruitment, like rare, like RARE.
Yeah.
There's also there's another one I'm thinking of. I can't remember it now. But there's few organizations like that that particularly focus on students from diverse backgrounds as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll give you, potential open days at law firms. You can go in there, speak to them, meet partners. They give you opportunity to do like internships as well. So
Mm,
there's a lot of opportunities like that, or organizations like that that can help you just to peek in to see what
exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
and then you can make up your mind whether it's the path for you. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. I know that we have gone off script. I've really been throwing my questions in, but
Yeah.
thank you. But before we go on to kind of talking a little bit more about actually realities as an African
Hmm.
scholar, and
Mm.
choosing a long career path, I wanted to ask one other question, which was out of the all the law schools that you've been to and all the institutions, which one has been your favorite and why?
What kind of question is that? I say UCL.
Okay.
Yeah, I say
Okay.
UCL for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed my time there.
Really?
Um, yeah, just because, so my field,
Yeah.
competition law, there's much more activity at UCL. Like, so for example, um, there there were three classes that I took
Mm-hmm.
in competition law, different aspects of it.
Yeah.
There was one that was just like the pure general competition law. There was like an economic analysis of law bit that, had competition law bits, but then also had like just how you think of economic theory improving law. And there was also like law, economics, and society, which had some competition law, but then they also had like blockchain and big data and how law and economics influence society. And there's
Mm-hmm.
just much more diversity of like different ways of thinking about competition law.
Okay.
Whereas at Cambridge, there's just the one competition law class that you
Right.
can take. So there isn't as much, as like a student, there isn't
Yes.
as much option for you.
Mm.
Um, and there's much more of a bigger community in competition law as well at
Mm-hmm.
UCL. They're constantly hosting conferences. And so I really enjoyed the academic
Yeah.
experience there. Um, and I don't know, it was a nice time for me as well. Like
Yeah.
I had been in Nigeria, worked at the law school, which made me hate law. You were saying that you like I'm making you like Nigerian, and
Yeah.
that made me hate law because I was like, it was just cramming. It was like not very intellectually engaging. So
Absolutely.
then I then came to you, so I was like, oh my, fine. Like now I'm
Actually,
learning,
yeah.
for this, like because I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You sound like
and
someone who just likes to get immersed in what you're actually
yeah,
learning.
yeah, I enjoyed it so much. So I think
Mm.
as a law school, I think UCL was better, but I think maybe as a university experience, I think Cambridge has been better
Okay.
because there's all these weird things you do in Cambridge, like going to the debating society,
Yes.
like the formal dinners, like the May balls, like all of that is just like a very different university experience. But I
Yes.
wouldn't say that's like a law thing.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, the law school UCL is I think definitely better for sure.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Which actually is a really good segue into my next question.
yeah,
So, in terms of then um, being in an elite institution like Cambridge, because it is, we have to call it what
yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah,
So, how easy is it to kind of settle in, but
mm,
also, especially for students from, let's say, the African diaspora or
mm,
underrepresented backgrounds?
yeah,
Um, do you feel that it can potentially be intimidating and
mm,
challenging? And did you face any challenges? How did you
yeah.
overcome them? because also the truth of the matter is you went to Haleybury,
Yeah.
which is in itself a fairly
Yeah.
elite institution, anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can
I
imagine
think
that
fairly
it's
is
not.
putting it lightly. Have you seen what some of our the lives some of our former classmates are living now? It's yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's elite.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
then I guess you had that
yeah,
exposure
yeah,
prior to that, but if you could kind of like draw on your experience, but
yeah,
also what you think for other people that would be like getting into an institution like Cambridge.
yeah. I think, of course, you mentioned Haleybury. I think Haleybury in some ways prepared me for Cambridge
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that it's this bubble. There's all these like weird words that you have. Like we had like the half at Haleybury, the
Yeah.
Porter's Lodge, all these
Yeah.
things. Do you have those at Cambridge as well? Or matriculation and all like you
Mm-hmm.
have those at Cambridge. So I think in terms of the lingo, it helped me, and I think
And the
I,
culture?
the culture. Hmm, I think the culture is quite similar as well
Okay.
because Hailey is almost like that sort of like monastery. Like you live in like a house, you have a house master. Like Cambridge, you have the college system, and then there's a college master as well. So like in terms of that,
Okay.
I think it's very similar.
Yes.
But Cambridge for me, I think was just a different experience from
Right.
Hailey because I joined the African Society.
Yeah.
I went to events from like the Ghanaian Society as well. I ran the Nigerian Society for a year. So I really found my
Mm.
community there
Mm, mm,
in a
mm.
way. And so I think that made Cambridge for me.
Okay.
Like, because so every year they have the African Society
Mm-hmm.
conference,
Mm-hmm.
and you meet speakers from all across the world. Like last year, uh, the last conference, which was in the summer, they had like the vice president of Botswana was
Oh
there.
wow. Okay.
So they have like pretty top people come in. Peter
Absolutely.
Obi was there as well.
Mm.
Really really interesting people come in and give talks, and you get to meet them. So I think finding that community for me really
Mm-hmm.
made Cambridge.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as intimidating because
Yeah.
there's other Africans that are coming and having the same experience as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And actually, that brings another question to my mind.
Yeah.
Um, because then by the time you were in Cambridge, and so in such an environment, you already had a sense of your identity,
Yeah.
and so that kind of helped you to not lose sight of who you are.
Yeah.
Would you say that was your same experience in Haleybury, where there was a little bit less representation and less of a community? So would you say that you almost lost sense of your identity and who you were trying to settle in and adapt to your environment?
I definitely lost my sense of identity at Haley for
Yeah.
sure. Because I don't think it was really the environment for it. I
Mm-hmm.
think Hailey is a school where you come in, you learn. Like
Yeah.
there's many opportunities to learn. Like I mentioned, the springboard thing. Like they really
Mm-hmm.
made sure that we're
Mm-hmm.
investing in you. There's loads of activities. I went shooting at Hailey, I flew a plane at
Was that
Haley.
RAF?
RAF, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I did all these
People always
things.
find it so cool when I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, flew a plane. Yeah, flew a plane. Yeah, they don't believe me, but I'm like, I did.
I
I
actually
did
still
like
have
a
my
loop. Oh, certificate.
license thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I
I lost
do.
mine.
Yeah.
But anyway, but like I did all these fun things at Haley.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was really the space for really deep self discovery.
Right.
And I wonder where is that place? Like, is there an institution that gives you
Mm.
that, or is it just a thing that has like
With
happens
time.
with your own life experiences?
Yeah.
And so for me, it just so happened that I didn't have one of those shock moments at Haileybury.
Yeah.
You'd have thought my GCSEs might have been that, but it wasn't. I
Yeah.
think the real shock moment for me was actually getting to Hull, and then just realizing that okay, I mean, like I said about Hull, like I enjoyed my time there and everything, but I think the main thing about Hull was that a lot of people there had given up,
Okay.
and because there's this narrative that they had about themselves, probably from like
Right.
very young, that I'm not going to amount to anything. I've
Oh.
done badly in my A levels, and I'm not going to like I don't belong in certain spaces. Even down to like the law firms that would come to us
Yeah.
on like the careers fair days. They weren't encouraging us to dream big.
Yeah.
So these sort of things, I think, sort of
Creative Paul.
yeah, create like this narrative and this context around you. And for me, that was just such a shock to myself because I was like, no, there's no way. I think maybe that's where the Nigerianness comes out a bit. Like, you're like, nah, there's no way. And I think the difference then at Cambridge was the
Yeah.
first time that in Hall you have this context of like people who like are effectively giving up. Then at Cambridge I had this weird experience where there was a party that was being had, it was like a Halloween party. It was themed the end of the world.
Oh,
So come
God
dressed
forbid.
as yeah. They were like they were like come dressed as like a world leader that is
Oh,
controversial. That was the
okay.
so I was talking to my friends, oh, are we gonna go to this party or not? And one person there said, I'm not going to go because I don't want a picture to be taken of me because it could harm my future political ambitions.
Come on.
And I was just like, wow, the
What?
difference in
The mindset.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not to say, I mean, people at Cambridge are smart for sure, but like not say like they're that much smarter than the people that went to
Yeah.
Hull.
Yeah.
But I think that like idea of
And
like
awareness
yeah,
of this is where I'm going
yeah,
and this is what could actually jeopardize my
yeah,
future. Love that.
yeah. So I think that was quite a shock.
Wow. And you
Yeah.
know what? I think after this, when the video comes out, you should send it to the whole university
Or
so they show their students and be like, look, you can go to Hull and still make it in life. So don't have a defeated mindset.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't let your institution even really define who you are and what
It
you can
shouldn't. Yeah,
be. But I also do agree that the people who you have around you
yeah,
can play a big part in either inspiring you and speaking life into you or really just
yeah,
dimming your lights.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That's dimming your lights. I think that's the
Yeah.
word. Yeah,
And you kind of addressed my next question about like what support is put in place. I think the main thing you talked about is obviously like societies, the different
yeah.
societies available to kind of like settle in. What about faculty mentors or
Mm.
like other people around? Do you have any other commentary around that?
Like in Cambridge or
Yeah, in Cambridge. So when people join,
um,
especially for people from underrepresented
yeah, I
backgrounds.
didn't really engage much with like faculty mentors or anything. To be
Okay.
fair, it was mostly within, I guess, my college.
Yeah.
So the colleges will have like a pastoral care system. So like
Okay.
you have like a college tutor that's there to look after you. So like you can speak to them about anything,
Yeah.
and they're there to just advise you or point you to the right resources. So if you have
Yeah.
like a mental health thing or like you're having an issue with another student,
Mm-hmm.
they can point you into the right channels.
Okay.
So that I've used that a bit, and that was quite helpful.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but I don't know if that's like a thing that particularly helps underrepresented students. I think for me,
Okay.
the main thing with that was just like joining the African Society,
Exactly.
meeting like older students
Yeah.
who like have been at Cambridge for maybe 3 years, maybe they're in the final year of their PhD, and they're
Yeah.
there to just like you can look up to them. You know, there
Exactly.
was a time me and my friend who's Ghanaian, he's doing his PhD at Cambridge as well in criminology,
Okay.
and we're walking, so the criminology building and the law faculty are right next to each other.
Mm-mm-mm.
They're within the same group,
Yeah.
and we saw this like older looking black man walking with like a kente top, and we
Oh.
saw he walked past us, and we both looked back, and we literally said we need to catch him, and we went to get him like who are you, what are you doing? And we found out he was like a final year PhD. We had just started. He was a
Yeah.
final year PhD from Ghana who was doing his PhD in law, and so we're
Okay.
like, give us like advice, like help us, like we just
Exactly.
started, like what tips do you have for us? And it was such a nice wholesome conversation. But like I think
Oh.
those looking up to people like that is really helpful. Yeah,
So what I'm hearing is, guys, engage, engage, engage,
yeah,
socialize
ask
with
for help.
people, get engulfed
Yeah,
really in the whole
yeah,
experience because that
yeah,
makes a
yeah,
difference.
yeah,
Okay. And then we also alluded to that earlier. So doing a PhD is a long journey.
yeah.
And whilst many of your peers may already be earning well in their established
May.
careers,
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you've obviously chosen to invest years into research and
yeah,
academia. So, what are some of the biggest sacrifices that you've had to make, and what keeps you committed?
yeah. So like I mentioned, I have some clients that I work with
Yeah.
already. I think the biggest sacrifice is like sometimes I have to say no on set.
Okay.
Like there was a project that I was asked to bid on or be part of a bid for where like
Mm-hmm.
it involved helping to draft some parts of the competition framework in Comesa,
Okay.
which had involved me moving to East Africa for a few months. Actually, now I think it's going on now,
Mm-mm.
and I would have loved to do something like that. I think that would have been a lot of fun, really
Yeah.
interesting, to also like immerse myself in that part of the continent. But I just couldn't do it,
Mm,
you know. But one thing my dad told me is that these opportunities will come.
okay.
Like this is just the beginning, and so
Yeah.
that's what keeps me going. It's like, okay, if this is
Knowing.
what I'm being offered now,
Yeah.
like these are the kind of roles I'm being offered now,
Yeah.
like once I finish the PhD, I cement myself as like a lecturer, professor potentially. You know, much more will come. Like it's not like they're gonna go away.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what also keeps me going is that it's such a new field.
Mm.
Particularly in Nigeria, it's only like 6 years old.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay.
so by the time I come in with my PhD, I think it definitely puts me in a good position for sure. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay, so you'll be happy to know that we're actually coming to the
I'm not
end.
happy to know that. I've been enjoying this conversation.
Good, because I've actually really, really enjoyed it,
Yeah,
and I've
yeah.
really got off script. But thank you for bearing
No
with me.
worries, no worries.
And so yeah, so I remembered obviously that at your recent birthday games night.
Yeah,
So first of all, you've joined level 3.
yeah, yeah. The third floor.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank
But
you.
yeah, so we played trivia, and there was a question that was asked, which was, "What was the title of your PhD
Oh
thesis?"
yeah, yeah.
What was the title?
So I actually don't know the title now.
Huh?
I don't know the title.
Of your own?
I don't know the title. No. I'll think when I finish it, then I'll give it a
Is that how
title.
it works?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just because right, like it
You
changes.
said
It changes so much. Yeah, the title I
really?
had when I started is not the title. So I've just given up on that idea. It's almost like how like you
Ah,
write the introduction last as
yeah,
well. Like you want to see everything and then
that's
know
true.
what.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So like I don't know the title. I can tell you what the topic is right
yeah.
now.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the topic is looking at how to integrate informal competition into competition law.
Okay.
And
Not me nodding as if I know anything about this, but
okay, so informal competition, like market traders, street hawkers, these massive African markets that you have,
okay,
they're basically seen as outside of the economy,
okay,
right?
okay,
And competition law, which makes sure markets work properly, so you don't have anti-competitive practices, you don't have price fixing, monopolies, um, basically has been inspired by the EU system and
hmm
the US system in Africa as well. And so it just sort of completely ignores the fact that like most of our economies are informal.
okay,
And so what I'm trying to do is to bridge that gap and try to
okay.
think about, okay, how does competition work in in the formal economy,
Yeah.
and how can we make competition law see these competitive constraints imposed by informal firms? Yeah,
Okay. That's so interesting.
yeah.
And so yeah, so no title
No title yet.
pending.
So I mean, how do I? The title might be like
Yeah, that is.
competition law and the informal economy, something like that.
hmm
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I want something that packs a bit of a punch.
Absolutely, as
Yeah,
you should.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I know that people always talk about, oh, I've defended my
Oh, yeah,
dissertation.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
is that? Like, what's the process actually? Because you
Yeah,
finish writing it. Do you finish writing the whole of your dissertation and then you defend it, or
yeah.
and then you get your PhD? How does it work?
So
Take us through the
yeah, so
process.
um you have like so you're writing for
Yeah.
the most part, and when you get to a point where you finish the first draft,
Uh huh.
then you write the introduction. I
Yeah.
mean, it works for different people. Like few of my friends, this is what's happened. Finish the first draft, then you write the introduction,
Mm-hmm.
and then you revise the chapters to make
Okay.
sure that they all fit with the introduction.
Okay.
So the first draft is like you have like your research questions and you're just
Mm-hmm.
writing them
Mm-hmm.
based on like, okay, I need to read these cases and find out what the courts are doing.
Yeah.
So you do that. Then you because you've written it over like 3 years, you need to then like synthesize all of that into the introduction,
Okay.
and then to get like the golden thread, that's what they call it. And then
Mm,
you go back and revise the chapters to make sure they fit the introduction.
okay.
And then you submit. Once
Yeah.
you're done, you've polished everything, you've got like the footnotes, the acknowledgements, the bibliography, everything. Then you submit that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the defense, which would typically be like 1 or 2 months later. I heard one case of a friend who had his defense 8 months later, which
Okay.
is
Is
insane.
that
It's a long
uncommon?
time. Yeah, normally it's like
Okay.
1 or 2 months.
Okay.
So you defend.
In front of who?
So you have like typically it's two people.
Okay.
One is an internal examiner, one is an external examiner,
Right.
and then they basically ask you questions of like methodology, maybe some blind spots in your research, and then after that you then either it's pass or fail,
Mm-hmm.
but then within the passing you can pass with no corrections, which
Okay.
means you perfect, submit it, cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can pass with minor corrections, which is
Mm-hmm.
like typos. We can pass with major corrections, which is like you need another chapter, for example,
Right.
or you fail.
Okay.
And they say that you're more likely to drop out from the PhD than to fail.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So most people who end up submitting,
Okay.
and once you get to the point of submitting, you're more likely to
Then
pass. But most people
yeah.
actually end up dropping out. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So it's a
Do you
big.
know the stats?
I don't know the stats, no.
Okay.
But what I can say is that I was just looking, so you can see who else has submitted,
Mm-hmm.
like their thesis online. And I have a friend who was 3 years above me. Yeah, and he would have finished his PhD, I think, in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
No, 2023, and he had his graduation the year after, and he had just submitted. So like there's the final submission after the
Yeah.
defense. So like that's what you can see.
Yeah.
And there's been years of people that have like been in between him and me and everything, him starting and me starting. I mean, and I went online to check just like who had submitted, and he was on the second page. And you'd
Mm.
think that like there'll be way more people,
Mm-hmm.
but this is like I'm talking like maybe a 3 year gap between me and him, and he was on the
That
second
shows
page.
you.
So like a lot of people just like people. It's not like they drop out of like I can't do this, and I mean it is that, but like a lot of it is also like you get to this point where maybe you have like 2 months left of work to do, but then you
Mm-hmm.
get a job, and then to work
Oh,
and finish off the
okay.
PhD is
Which
so
is
hard. So people just like
absolutely.
never find the time to actually do it, and then they just like
Ah.
keep dragging it out, and
So
then
they can do it later though.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But then it's
Okay.
like yeah, and then the jobs don't require the PhD as well. Even
Yeah.
most academic jobs don't require a PhD.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a
Okay.
bit of a challenge sometimes, but
Thank you for explaining the process
yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
When you do your PhD,
When I do it,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still like I really like the research that I was thinking about doing, and
What
I'm
were you gonna do
still
your research on?
to be fair, it was going to be, my area is obviously national
Yeah, yeah,
security,
yeah, yeah.
but it was going to be with a focus on like I can't remember the research, but it was genders. It was
Oh,
women.
I see.
It was
Okay.
women, and it was in like how basically they like being why they're being targeted and radicalized into
Ah,
terrorism in countries in sub-Saharan Africa.
that is
But
really interesting.
yeah, it was something around that.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
But looking beyond the PhD,
Yeah.
what impact do you hope to have in the competition law space? And
Mm,
where do you see yourself contributing the most? Is it in, because obviously you said you want to practice and you want to
mm.
be in academia, but where do you actually see yourself contributing the most?
In terms of like practice or academia or like country
Mm-hmm.
wise.
No, practice in academia. Ooh, country wise too. Let's add that.
Yeah, country wise, Nigeria for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to give back to my country. I mean, I say give back as though the country has given me anything,
Well,
but
they gave you.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, but I feel like I do want to like
No.
to do something to help my country.
Especially because you said it's quite novel. You said it's only recently started, so
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
there's a lot of
So that yeah.
space for that. But yeah, sorry.
But no, I don't really see there being like a distinction between academia and practice
Mm,
because I feel like it's all one and the same thing. Like I
yeah,
am still an expert,
yeah,
or hope to become an expert in the field,
yeah.
and academia and practice are just two pieces of that
Mm-hmm.
feed into being an expert. And so I see them quite like complementary.
Okay.
Um, I think ultimately I want to like contribute in like a regulatory capacity as well. I think that's
Mm,
really important.
absolutely.
Um, because I think it's one thing to like advise the clients, but I think actually being able to shape the law and shape the
Absolutely.
enforcement action, I think that's very important.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise you're just kind of like an outsider, you're not
Yeah.
really involved. And I got to do some of that when I worked at the agency, and I
Yeah.
honestly it's probably the most fulfilled I've ever felt in
Mm,
my career
okay.
path, like so far. Yeah,
Okay.
because if it was like I just felt like I'm doing good work for my
Absolutely.
country, like
I was about to say that. So then that's impact beyond just, let's say, your paycheck and your clients. It's actually impact
yeah,
within the country.
yeah.
So yeah, I like
It was
that.
and it was so fulfilling. I've been
Oh.
chasing that high ever since, and I haven't quite gotten it, but hopefully I'll go back and yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, I love that. And then
Mm,
my last question to you is, so I like to give my speakers an opportunity to just have one call to action, or I guess one last piece of advice that they
mhm,
have for people
mhm,
viewing the video. So what
mm,
would be your advice or your call to action to anyone watching today?
mm. I would say work hard, play hard. It's
Hola.
cringe, but I think but I think it's so important, and I think I'm learning that now
That balance.
in my particularly in my 30s now. Like
You've been 30 for like a month.
but I think it's so important because
Yeah,
I think we don't want to like finish a process and have regrets.
absolutely.
And I used to say this like particularly with university, right? Like you want to do everything, put
Yeah,
yourself out there, put yourself in different like spaces that you would never have thought you
yeah,
belonged in, and just try as many things as possible. I
yeah.
say this although I'm such a picky eater, but I with
Yeah,
I
he
think in
doesn't
terms
like
of like I don't
avocados
like
and
avocados, yeah,
bananas.
yeah. But I think you want to still try things professionally
Yeah.
from a professional standpoint, and yeah, put yourself out there, and then also when it's time to like enjoy yourself, also do that because I think that's something that I think early on in my academic journey I didn't do so much of. I was very
Mm,
much like work, work, work. But I think
mm,
it's also important to like have some time to just like rest,
exactly.
and it feeds in. I'm reading this
It
book
does.
now called The Productive Researcher, and one of the things he said is that actually having time for rest, like why do
Mm-hmm.
we want to rest? And
Mm-hmm.
the whole point of resting is so you can do better work, and they
Exactly.
work quite well together. So I think yeah, work hard and
I
have
love
this time.
that. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for being here once again. Thank you for everything that you shared throughout the whole course of the
thank you,
conversation.
thank you.
As we said, I've known Fola for 16 years,
Yeah.
and there's so much that I learned today. So, also, thank you for sharing that.
Like
Really
me being
inspiring.
suspended and
Absolutely. But no, even I'm really excited to see the impact that you're going to have. I'm excited for you to be finished because
yeah,
it'll be so well deserved.
yeah,
You've done
yeah,
amazing,
and yeah,
honestly.
thank you.
And I want to give you an opportunity to also plug in your socials. And
Mm,
also, you talked about the blog, for example.
yeah,
I think prior to recording, you talked about a podcast. So
yeah,
plug in everything.
yeah. So I have a podcast. It's on African politics.
Hmm.
It's called the Africa Briefing,
Hmm.
and I have a blog that I write on. Well, I haven't written on it in a year because the PhD has been quite intense. But I will be writing on it next year. It's
Yeah.
on competition law, all the latest issues and developments in the space in Africa,
Yeah.
and it's called Compedia. So Compedia, Edia,
Okay.
and it's on Substack. So yeah,
Amazing. We'll have the links in the description
yeah,
box, anyways. But yeah, no, thank you so much for being here.
yeah.
I
Thank you.
hope that you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please show your support, show your love by giving this video a thumbs up.
Mm.
Share with anyone who you think would benefit from hearing the conversation or who would be interested in everything that was shared today. And leave your comments as well in the comment section below. Until the next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.